We all admit, don't we, that one of the things we do not have, we do not do well, is patience. Sister Joan starts with a quotation from the Buddha, who was a deeply spiritual man, and he said the greatest prayer is patience. And isn't that true? One of the gals that I used to know, she would say, I keep praying for patience. And then God gives me opportunities to practice that patience. And so, I'm thinking maybe I better not pray for patience. The other thing that Sister Joan mentions is everything in its own time. And we are reminded of two Greek words that talk about time and patience. One is the word kairos, which means God's time. And then there is chronos, which is clock time or our time. She begins with a story. There was a time when if a person missed a stagecoach, that was no problem. They just waited for the next one to come through 6 months later. Now in our time, people have a breakdown if they miss 1 second of a revolving door. Well, it's worth considering because the problem is that in speeding up our society, we too often fail to realize that life is about much more than speed, especially the spiritual life. Because the spiritual life is a process of growing into maturity, one mistake at a time, one unsuccessful effort at a time, until we finally realize that there is no such thing as a spiritual mistake. Prayer and prayerfulness help us to understand that process is as important in the quality of life as productivity is. The way we go about life is as important to its outcome as what we do with ourselves in the middle of it. The fact is that very few things can really be forced before their time. Of course, love is one. Growth is another. Understanding and acceptance, they cannot be forced. Coming to appreciate the difference between God's time, kairos, and our time, chronos, is essential to becoming spiritual people. God's time is what prepares us to function well in our time. Now, it's easy, for instance, to be spiritual when nothing stops us or tests us or tries our hearts, but it is precisely the experience of being discouraged in our efforts that may strengthen us enough to deal with whatever it is that we want. It is in testing our spirits, having to check our impulses over and over again, that finally teaches us to control our anger or dampen our lusts. It is the pain of loss that teaches us that nothing is ever lost. It's only to be found in other ways. To live the God life means learning to compose our souls in patience. Prepare, and then wait. Prepare and wait. In God's good time, kairos time, God's will come. All-knowing God, give me what I need, but only when you know that I am ready to receive it. And from Galatians, we read, when the designated time had come, God sent forth the Christ, born of a woman, born under the law, to deliver from the law those who were subjected to it. Amen.